Say hi to the camera again, please.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, imagine you are a potato farmer. 50% of your production is used for self-consumption. But this year, most of your potato crops are gone. They could not withstand the cold temperatures. And now you wonder how to survive. That's a reality that 3 million Peruvians suffer every year, according to the Ministry of Agriculture. Today you will learn how GMOs can solve this problem. I learned about this topic when I was a researcher at Universidad Peruana Cayetano Heredia, where I spoke with many experts, among them biotechnology professor Luis Estefano. So next, I will show you how climate change affects Peruvian crops. According to the Ministry of Environment, about 67% of natural disasters in Peru can be attributed to climate change. In 2017, almost 1 million Peruvians were affected by El Niño. 5.5 million of Peruvians are affected by heavy rains. 2.6 million of Peruvians are affected by drought. 5.6 million of Peruvians are vulnerable to extreme cold temperatures. And about 14 million of Peruvians are affected by food insecurity. According to the Ministry of Agriculture, about 9% of Peruvians involved in agricultural activity are being affected by rising temperatures, changes in rains, and frosts, which are unpredictable. Geologist Eric Stockstedt reported in Nature magazine that potato crops are being severely affected by drought and cold temperatures. Potato plants are being devastated. In addition, the head of the Potato Center, Dr. David Ellis, mentioned this year that potato crops usually evolve and adapt to the extremes of weather. But climate change is happening too fast for these varieties to adapt. But don't panic, because the top Peruvian scientists have come up with a solution. We need to come up with a new legislation to use and apply genetically modified organisms in order to create plants that can withstand the inclemency of climate change. You know, the problem is that Congress, in 2012, banned GMOs in Peru. But according to Luis Estefano, the Congress did this without any scientific evidence to do so. The good news is that today we have a lot of evidence supporting the use of GMOs. In 2018, scientist Pellegrino reported, along with her collaborators, a 21-year meta-analysis of field data. And in her conclusions, they mentioned that GMOs are more productive and contain fewer mycotoxins. Also, probably some of you are against GMOs. Okay? And that's understandable because you don't know what exactly they are. But all the reports that have been appearing recently support that GMOs are actually good for our health and the environment. According to an extensive report published by the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine, there is absolutely no evidence that GMOs affect our health or the environment negatively. In fact, in 2016, 107 Nobel laureates published a letter to Greenpeace stating that GMOs are green, healthy, more nutritious, and particularly important for the small farmers. So, what could happen if we do nothing? A wasteland. As you can see in this picture, potato plants are dead, dead, dead. So, today more than ever, we need a solution. According to NASA, scientists are certain that the temperatures will continue to increase in the years to come. And if that happens, millions of Peruvians will suffer the consequences. So, what we need today is a legislation that allows us to research and use genetically modified organisms to combat climate change. You know, I've seen this wasteland when I visited Cajatambo in the Andes of Peru. And this is devastating millions of people in the Andes region. So I want to end this presentation with a very important petition. I need you to sign this legislation. We need to do this together. At the end of this presentation, I will hand you out, I'll give you the legislation so that you can read it, and you can share it with all your contacts in your social network. The first step is to read and sign it. And just to summarize the presentation, we have seen how climate change is affecting our crops. And I've also shown you how a very simple legislation can make a huge impact. So, look at the picture behind me. These are potato farmers who depend on their crops. If we pass this legislation, they will be able to produce higher yields, potato crops that can withstand the inclemency of the frosts, and they'll be able to export their food all over the country and even in the world. Together we can make this happen. Thank you. So now we have a session of questions and answers for 2 minutes. If anybody has a question, I'm here to answer them. Yes?
How do you plan to convince 70,000 people to sign?
That's a very good question. And I'm going to do that with your help. Every signature we get, if you publish that in Facebook, in your social media, you can have most of your contacts see it and eventually sign it. Okay, remember that every person knows thousands of people, at least in their social media, so we can share it there. And this has been done before. I know many people who have gotten more than 70,000 signatures in 6 months, so it is possible. Anybody else? Yes?
I've heard that GMOs causes cancer. Is that a fact?
Well, that's based on a publication by an Italian biochemist, Dr. Seralini. He conducted research on genetically modified maize and saw that certain breed of rats developed tumors. But then his research was discredited by the scientific community because the methodology he used was biased. What happened was that he used rats that were sensitive to develop cancer. Okay, so he has been discredited publicly already. Even the publication he made has been taken out of the magazine.